All right. All right. Hello, everybody. This is our Team Connect. Hold on. I'm going to stop you a minute, Jackie. There we go. Okay. It's Monday, August 12th, and we are super excited to have a guest speaker tonight. This lovely lady I have known for a few years, and she and her mom I have actually known for a while. So she's got energy and passion and excitement, and I'm excited for you guys to hear from her. So this is Ashley Hearn from Lakeland, Florida, and we're just going to do a little Q&A. And if you guys have questions, there's a chat box. You can type them in, or we'll leave some time at the end for questions too for Ashley. But Ashley was in the top sponsors. What number were you, Ashley? I'm sorry, I should have looked.
It's so funny. I don't even remember, Pam.
We just posted it in the team group, so maybe somebody can find your number. I know you were in top 10. She's always a top sponsor. She's earned both True Aura trips. She's been in direct sales for 13 years. Yay. So so tell us a little bit about how you got into the business, Ashley, and then also a little bit else about your life. What do you do besides True Aura? And thank you again for joining us.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. And first of all, I just want to say Pam is like #1 leader. She is amazing. If you didn't know, she was definitely #1 in a few categories. So you guys are in good hands.
We had a good time. Yes, we did.
Yes, and it's just so wonderful to be connected to all of our sisters in this business. One thing I love about it is we just work together. We just want everybody to succeed, and we give and we give and we give, and we just want you guys to feel connected to everybody in the greater scheme of this. Yes. And when I started this business, I was in college. I actually watched my mom. She started first, kind of fell into her lap. Just she was at a spa party and really needed some good healthy skincare. And when she started using it, all her friends started noticing, and then she was like, oh, well, I guess I can get you some, And when I heard about that, I just kind of rolled my eyes. I didn't really think much of it. I thought, oh, that won't go very far, But then I started coming home and I saw the money she was making because she was taking us on trips, and she had a new car. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you really doing here? Because I'm getting ready to graduate, and I know that I need money when I graduate, So I was actually a dance major in college. And so when I got out, I had all these aspirations of dancing all over the world in a company, and they were going to pay me all this money and travel me everywhere. Well, that was shot real fast. I realized you have to really work your way up to get to that point, and very few do, So I realized I'm going to have to work. I'm going to have to make some money and pursue my dance, Well, I sure wasn't a good waitress. I knew that by just my skills in the kitchen. I'm like, I cannot do waitressing. This is crazy. So I just decided to watch my mom and see what the heck she was doing, because I knew that it was flexible hours. And that was a big priority of mine. And I'm sure you guys know that flexible hours are very rare to find in the world these days. And so this business was pretty appealing to me when I looked at how much she was actually working and how much money she was making, because I knew that she could choose when she wanted to work. So I was shadowing her for quite a while and watching what she did in her spa parties and writing it down. And so I made myself a little outline. I finally did it by myself, but it takes a while for you to build up that confidence. And I understand that. But for me, it was all about just writing down what I was going to say. So I just had a really good outline, and I took it with me with all the products, and I just did it, until I felt comfortable without reading. I just read off a script for a while. And then I realized, I can really do this. So I started doing this in around probably full-time around 8 years ago. And I was able, when I say full-time, I was able to just quit teaching dance, because I was teaching dance every night and doing this. And I said, I'm going to quit teaching dance. I'm just going to do this. And then I'm going to perform professionally, because that's really what I wanted to do, is perform and travel and stuff. So I started doing this, making money, and being able to take off time to perform and travel. And my dance company at the time was able to take us places, but they didn't really pay us that much. They were just like, hey, we can go travel the world and dance. And we said, okay. So this actually allowed me to become that professional dancer that traveled around the world without having to have this job that held me back. And it was really cool because I was making the same amount of money all my friends were making, but they were working way more hours than I was, right? And a lot more very strict hours. And so that's kind of how I got into it.
Okay, awesome. So who do you invite to join your team?
That is a good question. So if you guys think about the prospect that I was not your average, person looking for a side gig. I wasn't really interested at all. So what I always say is don't prejudge anybody, because they could act not interested, but when you ask them, they may actually be interested, right? So when we don't ask someone about joining the business, we are saying no for them. And that is unfair, because what if someone hadn't asked you, right? If someone hadn't asked you, you wouldn't be here today and you wouldn't have the opportunity to make extra income from home, and everybody needs that. So
I think you should say that one more time.
Okay. So what I always think to myself is, if I don't ask them if they're interested in what I do, then I'm saying no for them. Right?
Yeah.
And don't prejudge anybody, because the person who may seem like they could never do this might be your best spa girl. My mom has a disability, and she talks about how, someone could have prejudged her and said, oh, she probably wouldn't be able to do this because she's physically disabled. Well, the person who invited her didn't think that, she invited her, and now it's like her life. She loves this, and it made her so much more confident and so much more positive about life and her future. And same for me. If she hadn't asked me, then I probably wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing and my passion, and have, money that I'm making when I can make it. And then recently also I had a baby, so I'm able to stay home with her and do this business too. So it's kind of like, okay, we all can use this in our lives in some way. Mm-hmm. And so we never can discredit anyone, right? And all ages, all backgrounds. I have a couple girls on my team who don't do this for money. They do it because they love the people, all the sisters that they meet. They, maybe are retired and just want something fun, I also have a couple people that are so busy. They have full-time jobs. They have kids. They have no time in the world, but they fit 5-minute segments of this into their day on social media and still love it. So you really don't know who's going to be interested.
I love what you shared in Empower about what do you say to somebody that says they're so busy. So could you share that with us?
Yes. So a couple things I did, a couple of scripts, if you guys do want to jot down a couple of words to say. What I do at the end of my spa parties is I ask them a question, a couple questions. One is, have you guys ever heard of True Aura in your friend circles? So most of the time you're going to have new people at the spa that haven't been there before, and they can think of their friend circles, and you guys, it's such a new company that they probably haven't heard of it in some friend circles, right?
Right.
And then I say, if you thought what I did looked fun, I can teach you what I did, and you can share with your friend circles and be the first one to know about True Aura. And so, it's just a very gentle way of saying, isn't this fun? And don't you think that some of your friend circles haven't heard of it? You can be the one, that lets them hear about it. So the other thing I like to say is, and my mom taught me this, she said this at Empower, is that the only skills you need is squirt and lotion. You're a professional lotion squirter. There is no pre-knowledge that you have to join a company like this. I didn't wear any makeup before I joined this company. I washed my face with bar soap. It was so bad. And I had no background in cosmetology, nothing. I had a dance major. And so when I think of people, the only thing that you need is your mouth. That's it, just to talk about it. And everybody has skin. So anyone that has skin, you can talk to about True Aura. And anyone that has a mouth can share Torora with others. So anyone can be in this business, really. And you continue to meet new people by having spa parties, and Pam's like genius about how to get new business and new parties. You always want to be in front of new people, because then you can meet the next person that might want to join you.
Right. So probably the majority of our team does mainly social media. So
Okay.
tell me how would you tweak that verbiage for that circumstance? So if our clients are on social media or whatever, how would you tweak that?
I have a couple actually recruits that I got that were actually just my clients from social media. So if someone, say, is using the product and they really like the product, you probably have some good clients that really like the product. Obviously, it's a little scary when you think of asking your client to join the business because you think, I'm going to lose the sale. But your mindset really needs to be, I want to build a business. And in order to build a business, we have to train others to do what we're going to do, because that's going to move you up in the career plan. And so a few of your clients may decide they want to try to do this, and that's going to help you. So with one of my clients, I have a little script that I sent to her. I said, hey, Casey, you have had such good results with your products. And I wasn't sure if you might be interested in the business side of this at all. That was my first text to her. And I said, there's next to no cost to start. So if you would want to give it a shot, if I taught you how, what do you think about that? So it's kind of giving them an out, like, I'm going to teach you how, right? What do you think about giving it a shot? If you don't love it, we can move you back down to TLC client or regular retail client. But I just thought I'd throw it out there because you've had such good results.
That's great. I really like that.
And I did that on text, and she wrote back, yeah, I think I should give it a shot. And later, after she had signed up a few months later, she came to Empower, and she said, I almost thought about asking you back earlier about the business, but I just didn't get around to asking you. So it's a good thing I asked her.
Yes.
Because she would have never been a part of the business if I hadn't asked her, even though she thought it.
Yep.
It takes you being the first one to reach out, because honestly, people are a little scared to reach out to you. Only because they think, oh, she's going to think I'm going to be this like major seller, and I'm not sure I can do it. Well, you always have to give them the reassurance that you're going to walk them through it. And that if they don't like it, it's really easy to move back down.
Right.
People don't want to be committed to selling something every month because that's scary. But if they know they can go slow and they have a way, if they don't like it, to go back, then they're much more willing to give it a try. Yeah. And of course, no investment. I mean, $14.95. When I say that to people, people are just floored that there's no startup cost. And then when they actually see the packages they can get of product, they're really excited about those. So, it kind of just eases them in the second step to order some of the kits that are good for them to start with if they don't have a Mets product.
I think back to, I paid $500 to start my business 32 years ago, and we didn't have that money. I don't know where it came from, but I found it because I wanted something so badly in my life. Mm-hmm. But now to be able to do that for $14.95 and not have to have inventory or anything like that, it's amazing. Love that verbiage you just shared, girl. That is going to be something I'll be practicing. Yes. So do we need experience to sponsor? Okay. That I get that, brought up when we talk to newer consultants about, sponsoring. So what do you say to that? Do we need experience?
Well, I'll share with you this. At Empower, Rick asked us to write down our biggest fears. And one of mine, number one on the list, was I'm not a good enough leader. And the reason I share that with you is that even the leaders think they're not good enough leaders. Mm-hmm. But the difference is I just tell myself that I am, even though I have that fear. And I just get over it, because honestly, fears only hold you back if you believe them. But if you tell them no, then you can overcome those fears. And so even someone like that's been in the business for a long time may have the same fear you do, but if they ask anyway, they grow into a good leader. The way you grow is through adversity and through facing those fears and just saying, I don't care, I'm going to ask anyway, and I'll figure it out along the way, right? So what I say is everything is already made for you in the training world. So if you think you're not sure how to train somebody, how to bring them up, don't worry, because you don't have to invent the training. Right. Pam's got these webinars, right? We have a new consultant guide that is online that is really step-by-step, and it goes in sections. So you could call this new recruit, and I did this last night. I was on the phone with the girl for an hour, showed her where to find that, and she went through and read it and printed out the fill-in-the-blank pages so that she could start working through her on her own how to start her business. And I just pointed her to it, you know? Mm-hmm. So the things are made for you. Once you get somebody who's interested, you don't have to do anything except open your mouth and share your heart. And if you believe in them, that is your only job. Okay? If you have the capability to believe in them, then you are a leader. Right? Yep. And don't we all believe in other people? Sometimes when they don't believe in themselves, that's how we become a leader, is just to believe in them and to point them to the resources and kind of walk along with them. And if you have the proximity to help them in person, do a party or do a Facebook with them, you know, go online and help them set up a Facebook spa. It's very simple once you kind of get them in the system. So I say everybody's a leader once you believe in someone, and that is all you got to do is open your mouth and believe.
I like that. Thank you.
Yes, we had I think a chat. You call your experience a spa party. What services are you doing in your groups? You want me to go there next? That was a chat question, Pam.
Let's go. Let's do a couple other things. Stay focused on sponsoring first, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So 2 questions yet. How would you start a conversation with somebody that maybe, you know, it's another mom that you meet at the playground or something like that? How do you do that?
Yes, I really believe in the personal touch and really asking them a lot of questions. I think when you get to the point where you're listening more, then you have much more, I guess you would call it ammo, as to how to direct your conversation once you know what their needs are. So if I were to meet a mom that is, you know, kind of just interested in making money, but they want to stay home with their kids, right? So I might ask them things like, well, you know, do you use social media a lot? You know, a lot of moms do. Have you ever thought of doing a business that you can run off social media? Well, I'm doing that right now. And if you want to follow me, you know, here's my Instagram, and you can just kind of watch what I'm doing, because I'm looking for more people in this area to share this business with, because it's so new and there are so many people that I can't reach, that I'm kind of looking for more people in the area that might help reach out to, you know, all of the potential clients in the area. Because this is a new company, you guys, so you can use that in saying that we are growing and there is very little, you know, in each area, very little consultants to the amount of, you know, people in the areas. So that's kind of maybe what I would do. But also I would probably just invite them just to come over one day and have a play date. And then I might have products around, you know, and kind of get into the conversation that way. I try not to just kind of sound spammy, you know, in, oh, well, I have this business and I want you to do it with me. You know, I just,
right. Relationship.
It's about building. And a lot of my friends, it took me probably a few months before I even said anything about it, because I don't want to be the girl that they meet in the first time I'm talking about my business. So I want them to respect me and trust me first. So honestly, a lot of them didn't even know I did this till they started following me on social media. And then they asked me about it. And I like that even better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to always be the one like saying, "Oh, look what I do." But if they see it and it interests them, then they'll ask. And I have an open house probably once every couple months, and I invite them to those too.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you try to, because I feel like you're involved in, you're probably involved in church and other like groups. I mean, I feel like sometimes we need to step out and get involved too to meet new people. I mean, do you have any suggestions there?
Well, I really try every day to go to some social thing, whether that's just a class at the gym, or whether that's like a play group with my daughter, or even just like to Target and things like that. Because I find that I end up like building relationships with people when I constantly do those things. And I do think that that is a really important part of your day, is to interact with people and not be scared to talk to strangers. And I don't lead with the business. Like I said, I just kind of strike up conversation. And I think a really important part, if you do want to make a connection with someone, is to Facebook friend them, like right on the spot. If you say, "Oh yeah, we should hang out sometime," and then you leave, you don't have their contact information. But if you get their Facebook, you can message them and say like, "Hey, let's meet up again. That was fun. Like, let's play with our daughters," or whatever, And so it's always good to get their information, because you'll be the one probably to ask. If you're meeting them for the first time, they probably won't ask. But if you do, they probably will be fine with, friending you.
Yeah. Good point. That's a really good tip. Thank you. Okay, so do you ever hear no, Ashley? And what do you do when you hear no?
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing ever. Have you ever heard of the analogy? And I just thought of this one. I do a lot of personal development training on podcasts. I'm sure Pam's shared with you guys some podcasts. And a lot of them talk about the no's. And so this is one analogy that I've heard, is that successful people build an empire on a pile of no's.
Well, that's good.
It's like you have to build a mountain of no's to get to the top. And no's also build your character, So character is leadership development, right? As you develop yourself and your character, you're developing as a leader. And that is all forged through adversity. The greatest gift we receive is a no with a lesson attached to it. So you can either take a no and you can say, "Oh, that ruined my day." And as that adds up, those no's will ruin your business. But if you take the no and you say, "What is the lesson in the no?" then you will learn from it and you will move forward. So I always look for, okay, what could I have done better there? What questions didn't I ask? And also a no a lot of times is just a not right now. So it's maybe they're not in the market for a new skincare right now. Maybe they're right in the middle of figuring out if they're going to stay in their job or not, and they really have to figure that out first. So it's always, a timing thing with people.
Awesome. I love that. All right. Do you guys have questions specifically about sponsoring? Any questions for Ashley? I can unmute you if you want to raise your hand, or if you want to put something in the chat box. You have just a couple minutes to answer questions yet, Ashley?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. This has been so good.
Well, I'll share with you one person that I prospected today. I was just hanging out in a lobby, and some of the girls that work in this lobby are like part-time, employees. And I overheard them talking about how they just wanted more in their life, and they didn't know what it was, but they knew that they liked the idea of having their own business one day. And these are girls that are probably a little bit younger than I am, maybe in their 20s, mid-20s. But I just wandered out there, and I was like, this sounds like a fun conversation. I said, sounds like something I might be interested in. They were talking about a business networking group that was women. I was like, oh, what's it called? I want to join it. And then they said, yeah, we're just over here talking about what we're going to do with our lives. And I said, well, what are you guys passionate about? And that was just how we started the conversation. One of them talked about fashion. And I was like, great. Have you heard of Cabby? That's a company like mine, except for with clothes. I wrote it down for her. And then she's like, well, what is your company? You know? So then we talked about it, and she was like, oh, I really like makeup too. I said, well, come back here. Let me do a little relaxation with you. And she did. So literally I had my spa bag, and I took it in there, and we sat her down at work. And the other worker said, yeah, you should go do that because you're really into makeup and you would like that. So it was like they were encouraging her because they had been talking about what their life was going to be like and what they wanted to do with their life. And she loved it. So she's going to get on. We're having a Zoom call on Wednesday for new consultants or people who are interested in joining. And she's just going to get on and kind of watch and listen. And I'm going to see her again because this is a place I go once a week. So I will see her next week and I will follow up. But she said she was free on Wednesday to watch that new consultant training, and she couldn't believe it was only $14 to join.
Wow.
You know, there's just things that you hear that you can then connect to. This probably relates to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Listen and ask questions. I muted everybody just so that we wouldn't interfere with Ashley speaking, because without any background noise. But you guys feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question. Don't be shy. This isn't a shy group. Let me look at my notes a minute too, because I think there was something else I wanted to ask you. I love that you mentioned the getting started guide. There's so much in there, even if you pick out a couple of 2 or 3 things to start with, you know, I think that's a great place to start. Give it a shot. I love that. If it doesn't work out for you, you can be a client. That does give people an out. I think that's really important, that they don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do this the rest of your life. You've done this 30 years. I've got to do it. No, you don't. You know, it can be whatever you want it to be. So that was great. I wrote down so many notes, Ashley. This was wonderful. Okay, Tammy had a question. So you call your experience a spa party. What services are you doing with your groups?
Yes, so I'll walk through a little bit of what we do. My mom and I still kind of do it as a spa party. And I actually cut up cucumbers and I put them on people's eyes right when they get there, kind of just to relax them. And then I have washcloths that I soak in just a couple essential oils that I like with water, and I heat them up. So I'm doing a steam wrap, you know, right away, gets them really in the zone. And we talk about relaxation, how important it is. Take them through some sort of guided meditation about, you know, how maybe you walk on the beach and you sit down and you let go of your stress, and just have them sit for 10 minutes and talk about, once you're done with that, how important self-care is, and how women especially, we take care of everybody else, but we don't take care of ourselves. And so today is about preventative health. So how to prevent from getting stress-induced, you know, diseases and anxiety and things like that. And then how can we prevent our bodies from getting disease with chemicals that, you know, we're using in a lot of the everyday products of the store. So next thing we're going to do is our facial, which is a toxin-free, probiotic-based. You can talk about Chura then, and talk about how in, you know, just all of your research, you have found that this is the healthiest line. It really, truly is the healthiest line of skincare and makeup you can find. Not only is it clean, but it has probiotics, which are making your body, preventing it from getting toxins in. That's giving it a shield of good bacteria. So then I just do the whole facial, and then at the end I do a hand cream on the foot and kind of teach them some reflexology with rubbing your foot. You guys know how to do that. You just kind of go up your foot with your thumb. And then I have them do the body lotion on an arm and compare the 2 arms because they can see the crepiness go away. And then we close it out. And at the very end, if there's somebody with red cheeks, I put powder on them. That's it. And show them one side, you know, one side of the powder, one side no powder. It's amazing. So that's kind of how I do the spa party.
And how big of a group do you normally do?
Up to 10.
Okay. Awesome. So that's probably like, you know, kind of scary for some of the consultants listening, like, oh my gosh, I don't know if that I could ever do that. But again, like you said, you make out your note cards and you just read your verbiage if you have to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's okay.
At first, I just had 2 or 3 points about each product on my outline, and that was it. And you can even write out a little meditation story or play it on your phone.
Yes.
YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
It's just another way that we're doing that, you know, that some consultants are doing their business, and we're not saying you have to do that. It's just a way that's working for some people. So I love that, you know, we all have our own way to, you know, to work our business and share with other people. So, but it'd be really fun. It'd be especially fun if you're part of a mom's group, or if you have connections with a mom's group. They need it the worst, right, Ashley? All you young moms, take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Awesome. Any other questions? Yeah. Tammy had just moved to Tennessee, so she's hoping to present this at some resorts to get her foot in the door there. So, and that's what you guys kind of work with, resorts too, also right down in Florida. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Guys, this is your last chance. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. I've got a page full of notes. I hope you guys all do too. Sure, we'll be listening to this again. It's being recorded, so that's awesome. Thank you. Tammy said we love you, and we do. We're going to see you on the cruise. It's going to be a blast.
Yes. We'll have lots of dancing pictures, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. You and Val.
Oh, gosh. So fun.
All
well,
right.
Thank you all so much. Look forward to seeing you again at Empower.
Yes. Thanks again, Ashley. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.